We are joined by a literal legend here, Johnny Avello, DraftKings Director of Race and Sportsbook Operations. When I saw Johnny at the Super Bowl, I had to tell him, I wasn't trying to age him, but take you back to like 1994, 1995. I used to listen to Johnny Avello on WDFN on Stoney and Wojo. Now think about that, Johnny. That's going back, 25, 30 years now. It's good to see you.
You too, Patrick, and you too, Amal. Yeah, those days were something. I remember doing it during, drive prime time on Friday nights, and we talked Michigan State, and those guys from Detroit, Stoney and Wojo. They were a lot of fun. I know Stoney's still in action. Not sure. I haven't heard from Wojo in quite some time.
Yep, he's still doing it. It was appointment must listen when Johnny Avello was on in Detroit. Okay, let's start here. We'll get to the horse racing, but let's start with an overview. First off, I want to congratulate you and your team at DraftKings for having a menu and a varied menu for the draft, okay? I mean that sincerely. I thought you guys killed the draft over at DraftKings. Give us an overview coming out of it, maybe a couple things you've learned and how the overall wagering went there, DraftKings, as far as the draft this year.
Well, we think we're learning every year, and we haven't done well, guys, on the draft. I mean, this is the fourth year doing it, and we've lost every year. But I feel that when the team puts up the odds and makes adjustments based on news, we're doing a really good job. The best we could do is just sometimes the news gets to us before we get to it. This year we did well. We had great handle. We surpassed our biggest handle on a draft by 25%. We did have some things go our way. The first pick was good for us. The second pick, not so good. But then the next 8 picks or so worked out. A couple of trades helped us a lot along the way. So we're fortunate to make some money on it this year. But the team just did a great job, guys. They were on it the best they could possibly be. And we even did some in-game draft trading to keep that tradition going.
Yeah, that was a tremendous job by you guys. Johnny, great to talk to you as always. I want to ask you quickly about the NBA. Lakers and Warriors playing gives so much interest on a national level. I took the Lakers at 18-1 before the playoffs started, but are they a team that's a potential liability for you, or who's the dangerous threat for you guys? Because Milwaukee going out seems like a pretty big benefit for the books.
The Lakers usually are a big hazard for us right from the beginning of the season, and it's been that way over the past 3 years or so, but not this year. I don't think the belief was there, Amal. I don't even know if the belief was there the Lakers would make the playoffs. So we're not in too bad shape with the Lakers. Of course, we've got ways to go, and we'll keep the future books open and let the money keep coming in. But right now, we're in okay shape.
Johnny Avello here on Sharp Money. Thrilled to talk to him, DraftKings Director of Race and Sportsbook Operations. Okay, let's get into it. The DK app, remember, right now, 100% deposit bonus. They match you up to $250. Got the 149th running of the Kentucky Derby. We'll get to the horses, Johnny. But let's start with your history with horse racing, with the Kentucky Derby in particular, and just booking the event as a fan and also booking it.
Well, we can start with my history in horses. Goes back when I was 5 years old, 65 years ago. Wow. Now, my history in the business with the Derby, I mean, I've been booking the futures since early 90s. Doing it now for DraftKings. We don't have permission to do it. Nevada still does. A couple of casinos are doing it, are probably grandfathered in because of, booking horses and not being pari-mutuel. But at some point, I'd like to change that. I'd like to see us start to be able to do the future book on a Derby again, and we'll see. We'll address that for next year. But the Derby's is a race that's, huge race in Nevada, always has been. For us at DraftKings now, we're finally up with a horse racing app. We're live in 15 states. Hope to grow that, each and every week that we're up and running. But it's been a long time coming. I mean, we've got to the so-called finish line a few times with that we thought with horse racing, but now we're up and running. It's been 5 weeks. Things look very positive, and glad to be up for the biggest race of the year.
Speaking of the finish line, Johnny, I was on the rail at the finish line last year when Rich Strike from the clouds cashed at like 80 to, I mean, seriously, in all your years of booking, you're a Hall of Famer, and all your years of doing this, like that was one of the craziest moments betting-wise. Everybody was ripping up their tickets. Nobody had heard of the trainer or the jockey. It was incredible. They're at the race.
Well, he gets in, he's also eligible. He ends up getting in. His form doesn't look that good. The only thing he had going for him was that he did like the Churchill surface. And that has shown Rich Strike. I said he would never win another race, and he hasn't won another race. But when he does run at Churchill, at least he's close. So he liked the surface, and he was like a NASCAR that day. He was in and out of the track. I mean, it was just an unbelievable ride. He messed me up too, Patrick. I mean, everything else was going to fall correctly. So he screwed up my whole day also.
Let's start with Todd Pletcher, who's won the Kentucky Derby twice, as you know, Johnny. He's got the rightful favorite in Forte, the 2-year-old champ, but also his stablemate in Tappet Trice. His daddy is Tappet, the best sire in North America. Let's start with Forte, though. He's going to go off as the favorite, but the numbers aren't overwhelming.
They are not overwhelming. There is no horse in this field that you can say, is a shoo-in for this race, and that's what we love about the Kentucky Derby. Sometimes there's horses in here that should be a strong favorite that go off less than 2-1. Forte is not going to be one of those horses. Now, what could drive his price down a little bit, Patrick, is that there's some rumors that Mattress Mac will be at the track and is going to unload on a horse. Now, he likes to bet $1 million, $1.5 million on a favorite. So he could lower the price from 3-1 to 5-2. I think Forte deserves to be the favorite, and I think Forte deserves to be used in your mix, your exact as your tries. But if everything being equal, every horse is supposed to be 20-1. So should he be 1/10 of that? I don't think so. So I'll use him, but I'll be looking in other areas.
He got a good draw as far as post position, 15 on the outside. I'm concerned about Tappet Trice. Tappet's progeny, Johnny, can often be cantankerous, just a little mercurial, and he's goofy. The horse Tappet Trice is goofy, but he might be the most talented in this race. He's 5-1 morning line. My assumption is he goes off shorter than that.
Maybe not too much shorter, because there's going to be. Here's what happens at Churchill Downs during the Derby: is that there's horses that are 50-1 that you could look at them and say they should be 100-1, and
right.
And when you'll see horses that are 20-1, you say should be 12-1. And what'll happen is those 50-1 horses, some of them are going to be 20 in the 20s to 1. And I don't know why. They just, it's just a different crowd betting horses at the track. So, this horse is going to take money. I mean, he's won at 4 different tracks. He's okay in the mud in case there is a wet track that day. The connections are great. You got one of the, you got Ortiz or Saez riding him, one of the best jockeys, and you mentioned the trainer Pletcher. So, what's not to like about the horse? So, I think 5-1's a fair price. Not sure he'll be much less than that, but certainly should be used.
I'll give you my long shot. I don't like the post position. It's verifying. I think you've got him DK at 14-1. His daddy is Justify, won the Triple Crown in 18. Brad Cox, the trainer, Gaffalione aboard. It's good connections. I'd go there. Do you have a different one for us?
Yeah, first of all, that's a good pick. The two holds certainly doesn't help him much. The one thing I don't like about the horse is when he does get the lead, sometimes he quits. Now, he's going to have to use a lot of energy, certainly, to get out because he just can't fall too far behind. I like another Cox horse. I like Angel of Empire. He won the Arkansas Derby his last race. He seems to be getting better each and every race. I also love the jock there, Flavian Pratt, one of the best, certainly, in the world. So I like his progression, and I think he's kind of similar to Forte, but he's going to be a little bit better price. So that's a horse I'm looking at right now.
Had a friend text me that's into the horses, loves all caps, Angel of Empire, right now 10-1 on the board. Johnny Avello, DraftKings Director of Race and Sportsbook Operations. Remember, you download the DK Horse app right now, 100% deposit match up to $250. All you have to do is use the code HORSE. Johnny, honestly, pleasure to speak with you. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you much, guys. Have a good day.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.